river shanty homes. He was 29 years old. He had collapsed during wind sprints on the first day of workouts. His legs ached. There was a sore on the shin of his right leg where the blade of a spike had sliced to the bone. The sore had not healed in 2 years. It stayed scabbed and bled on touch, and the skin around it had begun to crinkle like cigarette wrapping paper. The sore leg had made him sick. He had lost weight, and he could hear sloshing sounds in his abdomen when he tried to run. There were mornings when he struggled to pull himself from his bed. He was 29 years old, and he had played professional baseball for a dozen years, not with the big teams, not with the New Yorkers or for Boston or Detroit. He had played against the best, by God, the best, from Kentucky to Louisiana, including one season in New Jersey. He had seen the big leaguers come and go, had played with them and against them, and by God, he had been as good as any of them on the best of his days. The best of his days were over, he thought. Tomorrow he would be cut from a team of boys who had played lately on sand fields and in pastures. God Almighty, boys who were not long weaned from dragging at their mother's milk-swollen tits while he was turning double plays for a team in Lexington, like a New York stage dancer fancy-footing a tap dance that made hearts race with gladness. He scrubbed the perspiration from his face with the forearm of his shirt, swallowed again from the bourbon, and the fire of the alcohol burned his throat, and he sucked for air, open-mouthed, slow, deep wheezing. The bourbon seeped into his brain and into the bloodless ash coloring of his face. He sat quietly, knees up, his wrists locked over his kneecaps, holding the bottle in the fingers of both hands, gazing at the sliding river, thinking of the games he had memorized. No, not games, moments of games. Fragments of rude physical awakenings when the body moved faster than the mind, and the act, the feat, impossible to other men, was done. Those moments called often to him, called to him from clear bell voices of other years, and when he heard them he could feel an energy invade him like a parade of costumed marching bands. He shuddered and ducked his head. His fingers played nervously along the neck of the bottle, and he listened as the bell voices of other years came out of the wind, came out of the waters of the savannah, came out of the crying of cicadas, came out of the buzzing of flies and mosquitoes. Their voices were mighty, telling stories that were legendary. The great Grand Slam in Mobile on a September day blackened by rain-heavy clouds, and the curious timing of it, how the rain began to fall at the precise moment the ball he hit was falling beyond the desperate reach of a racing left fielder. The rain fell over the cheers of the great Grand Slam as he waved his God wave to those who leaned out from the stands, leaned for him and for the moment. The triple play in Dayton, the hated Dayton's, when he leapt at the rifle clap of the bat, and the ball buried into the fat padding of his glove, and he touched the dashing runner from first, and then out-raced the runner trying to get back to second, and the play was finished before the echo of the rifle clap had ended. Foster snuggled the bottle close to his chin and smiled pleasantly at the mind pictures, at the tuba beat and the singing trumpets of the gaudy, strutting parade of memory. The mind pictures were his eulogy to baseball, and his soul yearned, cried, shivered for their return. The river flowed in its jelly thickness before him, carrying bobbing wads of garbage which had been thrown in darkness from the tiny houses with kerosene eye blinks lining the river bank. He watched the river numbly, breathing in its acid gases. He tipped the bottle to his lips, swallowed. His throat began to deaden. He closed his eyes and was very still. Arnold Tolman had announced that 2 men would be cut from the team tomorrow, and he knew that he would be one of them. He was 29 years old, an ancient among boys, an ailing second baseman who could no longer bend and twist and run on a decaying right leg. He could no longer play the game, and he would be cut away from it, like a useless limb on a tree. It was the meanness of the game. But the game in 1904 was mean. Only the quick and the strong survived. Foster was neither. He swallowed again from the bourbon, a spilling swallow, and he said aloud, but not loudly, "They gone cut me." He nodded in agreement with himself. "Wonder who else they gone cut," he said. His mind searched the faces of his teammates.